Tennis Podcast. We've got Matt and Zach, as always, as your host. We've got a super special guest today. He is factually, statistically, one of the best players in the triangle. He is also a new PT to the scene, so I know he's been helping Zach and I a lot out with a lot of our injuries. He's a 5-0 player, and let's welcome Andres Caro.
Andres,
be
I
here.
think that Matt and I single-handedly can keep you in business.
Yeah, always injured.
It's fun. It's a weird dichotomy because I'm like, I hope you all come in to see me, but I also hope you don't have to stay too long
Yeah,
because we want to get you better, right? We don't want you.
yeah.
There will
stuck in
always be
PT
something
forever.
new with the healthiest sport on earth, which
Yeah.
So for Andres, when did you start playing tennis? Because you're, like Matt said, you are a top 5 player in the triangle according to USTA. When did you get your start?
I picked up a racket for, but I didn't start actually playing till I was maybe like 8, almost 9. Played once a month in the summers, but really started playing when I was like 8, almost 9. Started playing like twice a week, and then ramped up from there. Started playing tournaments when I was like 9, like middle of 9 years old. Lost my first 16 matches in a row.
Wow, that's
Really?
impressive.
Yeah, and I almost quit. And then I won my first match, won the back draw, and never looked back.
That's a pretty remarkable start. I lost, I think it was my first 15 tournament matches. Why is that a
Wow.
common thing in the juniors? Just to like,
I don't
just to
think
lose,
so.
lose,
I
lose?
think it's just us.
Man,
I
well, it worked out
lost
for
a
you.
fair amount. I wonder if it has to do just there's such different. Like you got juniors who are just like getting into it and they don't know what's going on, and you got juniors who are like, I'm just like I'm all in. I don't know.
Yeah.
The
Well-
range in the 10 and unders must be massive.
I think it's funny. I find a lot of the kids win their first tournament, they burn out so fast.
Oh yeah. How
They
many?
just like they get
Yeah.
high, like
Yeah,
the
yeah.
highest of the highs, and then their parents are like, "Oh shoot,
Yep.
my kid's gonna be good," and then they just get a ton of pressure and put a
Mhm,
bunch of pressure on
mhm.
themselves, and then once they start losing it,
Yeah. How many of the like how high is that burnout rate? Because you were obviously a good junior and you were in that area. Like, what's the burnout rate like?
it's pretty high.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people burn out that some of them you kind of know are gonna burn out.
Yeah.
And then
Ooh,
some
what
of
are the
them
signs
you don't
of a
really
player
expect.
that's going to burn
Yeah.
out?
I was gonna ask that.
The more rackets broken, probably the more burnout rate. Then you just know when you see a parent on the
Yeah.
sidelines just
Yep.
being a crazy tennis parent.
Yeah.
You're like, oh god, like either this kid's gonna be nasty, or
Mhm.
he's gonna burn out real fast.
So
Or he's
had-
gonna get to college and just do a bunch of
Mhm.
drugs and alcohol and go
Mhm.
nuts.
Mhm.
both of us have played a gentleman who I thought was going to be for sure a burnout because his dad, Strunk Hersheimer, excellent player, plays professionally, played collegiately, but his dad used to make
Yeah, I
him
know
like
Strunk.
jump rope between matches and stuff at tournaments, and all the other parents were like, Jesus Christ, I want my kid to be good, but not that
Yeah,
much.
that doesn't surprise me at all.
Yeah.
Did you ever play strong in the juniors?
I didn't play him in the juniors, but actually, when I moved here, I started like being a hitting partner for him for a little while.
Oh, that's cool.
Because I was coaching. I was like a hitting partner for some kids that his dad was coaching.
Okay.
And then I got there early for one session, and I saw him like just like hitting some balls, and I was like, and his dad was like, "Hey, like with my old arm, I can't really serve as big. Strong
Yeah.
wants me to. Like, can you come over and
Yeah.
do that?" I was like, "Yeah, sure." And then we just started hitting. Probably the next like 9 months or so, we were like hitting once
Oh,
every
nice.
like week or two.
That's really cool. Matt and I actually just saw him play Tyson Kwiatkowski at the Winston Open.
We did?
in Ty's last
Oh.
match. Yeah. Yep.
That was
Didn't
the last
even know.
match. Man, I forgot that he's stopping playing. Ty
Yeah.
Kwiatkowski was always a guy that I thought was going to be like unreal.
Yeah. Because he was a North Carolina guy, and he was.
I
coming up,
saw
think,
him play
3
some
years
junior
after me.
tournaments every once in a while.
He won everything. I mean, like he rolled, and he was playing kids 3-4 years older, as is oftentimes the way in the juniors. What was your junior career like? Did you play any big tournaments? Were there any players in particular that you remember playing against?
I was like 3-star, 4-star type of
Mhm.
guy. Like
Yeah.
Mhm.
decent, nothing crazy.
Mhm.
What does that mean for our listeners that aren't familiar? That 3-star, 4-star
So
range.
basically, I think a lot of people are more familiar with UTR at this point, but tennis recruiting has their own ranking for high schoolers that college coaches used to go by a lot more, and they were starting to
Mhm.
phase it out once I started to look at colleges and think
Mhm.
about playing. And so basically, a 3-star is like top 400 in the country for your grade, and then 4-star is top 200,
Mhm.
and then 5-star is top 75, blue chips top 25.
This is pretty similar to basketball, I would assume, or football. Like they have stars as well. It sounds like it's in a
That's the
similar
same
boat.
thing.
Yeah.
So it's my understanding a lot of the top, recruits are European players or South American players. And so how do they factor into the recruit? Are they given stars as well? Or do they have a different system for them? How does that work?
They're not given stars, and I think this is why UTR is probably one of the reasons why UTR is utilized so often, other than the fact that it's just more accurate.
Yeah.
Yep.
But the coaches would honestly, if they really wanted an international player, they would go travel to that country and watch them play a tournament most of the time.
Hold the phone. That feels like a great way to take a cool trip abroad if you're a college tennis
Yeah.
coach to me. Like, I got to go see this player in Spain. I guess I have
Yeah.
to spend a
Happens all
week
the
there.
time.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Particularly at the D1 level. They're
Oh,
going
yeah.
to Europe all the time, and they're watching people. I played D3, so like they weren't really seeking the international players all that often.
In football and basketball, they have assistant coaches doing a lot of the recruiting. So if you're an assistant D1 coach, do you get like the hookup to go to Spain to recruit, or Argentina or Brazil or wherever?
I think so. I'm not super in that scene, but I definitely know of both head coaches and assistant coaches that have done a lot of recruiting trips. But yeah, that's definitely true that I would say the assistants more often doing a lot of the recruiting. But I think a lot of times it's just whichever coach has the better personality to recruit is going to do the recruiting.
Huh. And who were the best players that you played against in the juniors? Because you were in pretty elite air at that point.
Best at the time, or who ended up being insanely good?
Oh, I'd actually love to know both.
Okay. Both for one of them would definitely be Tommy Paul.
Matt,
played
do you
him-
know Tommy Paul?
No, I'm pretending like I do. just to make it sound good. No, I've heard his name, but I was about to Google him actually. Let me
Yeah,
Google.
he's like what, like 15 in the world right now?
Oh wow,
Yes.
that's pretty
Yeah.
good.
He was, so I played him in doubles in a pro set with a kid that was like another local kid that I was friends with. And we got one deuce and lost 8-0. We were really proud of that one deuce. And I
Yeah.
was super proud. I was like keeping up in some backhand rallies. And I was like, Mom, did you see that? Because I was like
Yeah.
11. And so he's definitely, I guess in terms of ranking, he's arguably the best I played. But I guess the best I played on the women's side, because I played mixed doubles against her, was Emma Navarro.
Oh, wow.
And played her in the 18s, played with a girl that ended up playing for Furman, and she was playing with a guy that played for Clemson in South Carolina. And we lost 9-7.
Okay.
Pretty good. But she
Yeah.
was 14.
Okay.
So
That's still pretty good.
I was 18.
I think that Emma Navarro is working with some resources that the rest of us aren't, though.
Yeah, maybe a little bit.
Was that something that was known amongst the juniors? Because certainly that's been part of the discourse with her in the pros. And Matt,
I think
for
it
awareness-
was. I think it was. I didn't
Assuming she's
actually know
doing
that.
drugs.
What's that?
She's
I'm
not
assuming she's
juicing.
doing drugs of some kind. I have
No
idea.
allegations of drugs. Her dad is a bit of a billionaire, though,
Yeah.
so she can get to things on a private jet.
Oh, that's nice. Okay.
Yeah.
That's how I would have liked to travel as a junior.
Also, not that she didn't deserve it, because she's like an awesome player, but her parents were also able to like buy a tournament in Charleston, and she got the wild card.
It's like the way to do it.
It's a nice little entry, but she obviously deserves it. She's like an unreal player. But
It's one of those things
it's a
that's like a
nice-
little
nice-
awkward to talk about because, like, you don't get to be top 20 in the world by having
No.
rich parents, but it certainly doesn't hurt on your journey there.
It definitely doesn't hurt in the beginning, that's for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Boy,
So
the conspiracy theories that could come out of that. He is Sherman Financial Group, one of the largest buyers of consumer debt. He could just see who's in debt and just start paying people off like that, forgiving their debt for all
Oh.
kinds of stuff.
I believe they own the Charleston Open.
Okay.
that's a pretty
um,
fun tournament to own. A nice American clay.
Yeah, really fantastic women's tournament. Honestly, one that I've really considered going to for a while because I think it's super cool.
I think we should plug that. Look, that's like a 5-hour drive from the Triangle. It's not bad
Yeah,
at all.
it's not bad.
Yeah. their games look similar today? Do they stylistically play the same as when they were juniors?
It's hard with Tommy Paul because we were so young. But honestly, it's not that far off.
Yeah.
Like the angles he can generate, he's always been able to do that. Everyone called them, like whenever you hit an angle in the juniors, you called it, I just hit a Tommy Paul angle.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And then Navarro, I only really saw play that once. But honestly, like just like how smooth she was. Like I remember just trying to kick serve her off the court. And my like stupid 18-year-old boy pride like wouldn't just hit a power serve into the body. And she was just burning me. She was just burning me off the angle backhand like every time.
So you were like 11 when you played Tommy Paul, and he was 11 as well.
When I played Tommy. I was 18 when I played Emma.
Okay.
Okay.
I was gonna ask if he was like, if he was in college, like was he as handsome then as he is now? But that's like a weird question to ask. So.
That's a very weird question to ask if an 11-year-old is handsome.
Yeah. Yes, no. Moving on.
Okay. What is the we asked the culture question, right?
What was the culture of
Oh,
the
okay.
junior
So what was go for it.
Gosh, depends on the family. My parents were really good about wanting me to succeed, but not really pushing me. They knew they didn't need to because I was already obsessed from the start.
Yeah.
But it got weird. It gets weird. You go anywhere from like kids trying to talk to your mom and dad on the court and like trash talk them to like parents yelling at their kids in the middle of matches to like super nice people that you want to hang out with all the time. Like it's really all over the map because you'll get, but I will say like probably up until the 18s when kids started to finally mature, like 12s and 14s, you'd play a tournament. If you played 4 matches, 3 of them are cheating you.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Oh yeah.
It was brutal.
I was like low level junior. I think my rating peaked at 28 in North Carolina in the 12 and unders. And kids were cheating. I'm pretty sure I was cheating too. Like looking back on it, I shouldn't have. If it hit the line, out by at least a foot. You know, was very much the junior culture.
Did you have any buddy? So I didn't. I traveled a little bit around Indiana, and there was always a couple guys I would see, and I formed some friendships. Were you able to do that at all?
Yeah, definitely. I don't really like now that I've been on a college team. Like those are more of my like tennis buddies now, and then guys in the triangle
for
too.
Sure.
But definitely there were a couple guys, like particularly like some Tennessee guys that I would hang out with more often than not.
It does feel like there's got to be a better way to create a little bit more camaraderie and team atmosphere in USTA, and it doesn't seem like there's been a ton of effort to do
at the juniors at least, because when the rec leagues it's fine, but at the juniors, I was asking that question, Andres, because I feel like it gets lonely out there.
Yeah, they do have a couple of team events that you can do. So those were always the most fun, and everyone agrees they're the most fun. But there's 2 a year, and that's it.
Oh.
And so there's zonals, which I think is now called Ozaki Cup, I want to say.
Oh, what a cup?
It's called like Ozaki Cup. It's you take like some of the top juniors in each section, and so like I was on like one of the southern teams because they always host it in like a southern place. Actually, my 16s zonals was in Winston-Salem at Wake Forest. Cool. And we were like a southern team. There was like a northeastern team, a mid-Atlantic team, a Puerto Rico team.
Okay.
I think a Texas team and a Florida team.
Wow.
The Florida team had to win that. That's got to be unfair because they got all the academy
honestly,
kids, right?
the southern teams were winning most of the time.
Huh? Oh, wow.
Florida teams could be good. Honestly, the Florida teams are the biggest hooks. They were bad. And also, I'm Puerto Rican, so I can say this. The Puerto Rico team was horrible. Horrible with cheating. They were bad.
It's okay. We look at our demographics. No one from Puerto Rico is listening. Just don't bash Japan. We have one listener from Japan. Don't bash Japan. That's all I ask.
I imagine that there's one guy in Japan who's decided to work on their English, and they've stumbled upon this podcast, and there's a Japanese man speaking just like Matt Hanauer.
Oh boy. On that,
I would love to hear that.
Oh yeah.
We'll ask on the YouTube. Were you able to get any free or discounted stuff out of all your junior stuff?
Not really. There were a lot of kids that did this athletic DNA deal.
Oh.
I don't know.
I'm sorry, what?
Yeah, explain
Do you
that.
know the brand?
No,
have
I
no
thought
idea
you
what
were
you're
just.
talking
I
about.
think it's like an extinct brand now. I don't think it exists anymore. But
Athletic
Athletic
DNA.
DNA always did this thing where if you were a certain tennis recruiting, they'd give you
Yeah.
like a certain percentage off their stuff.
Okay.
I thought you were gonna say they were like taking their DNA and weird shit like that.
I wouldn't put it past junior tennis, but
It looks like there's still some stuff available on Amazon if you're
Really?
interested in this. Yes.
Heavily
but
discounted, I bet too.
yeah.
Yeah.
But no, Athletic DNA did that. I never did that because it was always like you were either like super all about getting that free stuff from Athletic DNA, or you just judged the people that did that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was the one of the ones that judged the people that did that.
Yep.
I got some discounted stuff and like free stuff from like one of my coaches actually tried to make his own clothing brand,
Okay.
Oh boy.
and it was like Beast Tennis. I don't think that exists anymore either.
Yeah.
That's gotta be. I feel like you need a lot of capital to start up an athletic clothing brand because it's not just
Yeah.
here's a
I mean, he was just doing it
T-shirt that we
locally.
put something on. Yeah.
Yeah, and then there were some like at some of the clubs that I was at, there was some like maybe a Babolat rep or like a Wilson rep that would give me like a discount on rackets.
Yeah. Well, Matt can hook it up for you if you need anything.
Of
Oh, yeah.
course. All the diadem gear. All the
Oh,
diadem
yeah.
gear you need. Yeah. And when I
Matt-
transition you to pickleball, I'll be happy to get you a pickleball paddle. And you can be on our national championship winning team.
Matt has 800 cases of diadem balls in his garage right now that he's distributing.
I do. I
Like
am
a
trying to
Diadem
get rid of
cartel.
them. Yes.
I believe it.
People need to pick up your balls. That's one of my plugs. Pick up your fucking balls.
Yes, and
They're
also
sitting at my house.
Think of every ball that you lose as $1. That's what my coach always told me.
Yeah.
pick up your balls and check your balls. We're
Yeah,
about
check your
that.
balls too.
You're in healthcare stuff. Check your
Yeah.
balls.
Yeah.
Do you,
Well,
do
that's
you
a-
endorse that?
Absolutely. Honestly, I listened to that podcast and I was like, maybe I'll get my balls checked out.
Yeah.
That's
It's
great.
always a
That's
good
great.
thing. This is a great segue into plugs. We've already done a couple plugs.
The Durham Retro Racket Classic. It is back for its second annual edition on November 16th, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. An all-day wood racket and retro racket extravaganza. The defending champions, Raj and Stewart, are committed to returning. Will they be playing together? I don't know. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. It's a wide open field. Andres, you ever play a match of the wood racket?
I have not. I've hit with one before, but I haven't played a match.
Will you commit right here and right now to playing in the Durham Retro Racket Classic?
I wish I could. I really wish I could. I actually have a memorial golf tournament for my uncle that I'm going to in Puerto Rico.
Oh, that's a tough
Couldn't
one
do
for us
that.
to knock.
Yeah.
I couldn't do that one.
I
But
can tell you, it's
I got so excited when you mentioned
Yeah.
it before, and I was like, oh, I hope I can do this.
So we're thinking about continuing this plug about the weekend before doing a little Queens Club style warm up at East End on Saturday.
Oh,
Just a little
okay.
round robin. So there might be an opportunity for you to get
That's a good idea.
some wood action in there.
Zach, will this be taking place at East End or Rock Quarry?
It's going to be at Rock Quarry. It's going to
Makes
be during
sense.
the daytime because unless something has changed, the lights are horrendous there.
Yes, and
That's
there's
the
less
first
lead.
place.
There's also less lead.
Less lead. That's good.
Yeah.
Matt, I believe that you are going to be bringing some special guests, Matt, to this.
Actually, we won't be anymore, so we're gonna cut that.
What happened to the puppies, Matt? Why aren't you bringing the
No.
puppies? Where did they go?
No, Jody, we are not working with that nonprofit anymore. That lady's crazy.
Okay. I say we leave this in.
Maybe we'll keep it in. Yeah, she'll never listen. She'll
Definitely.
never listen. Jody does listen, so she'll get a kick out of that.
There we go. There we
No,
go.
that lady's crazy. But I will be bringing my grill if it's at Rock Quarry like I did last year and cooking up
Woo.
some burgers and whatever else folks want.
Andres, what are you plugging today? What you got?
I'm plugging my PT practice. So I work
Mhm.
at Duke Sports Medicine Physical Therapy at the Center for Living in Durham. And we have a really good facility, particularly in terms of our technology, I would say, more than anything. Our clinicians are great. But I am trying to start more of a tennis rehab program at the university and at that location specifically. So if anyone's, hopefully you don't get injured, but if anyone is injured, please come see me, call our number, and we'll get you in. But yeah, so really I want to plug also that in terms of returning to sport and staying healthy, I think we have some of the best technology you're ever going to find out there. That's going to give us a lot of confidence to really say you are actually safe to go back. instead of just looking at how you move and saying,
Yeah.
oh, I think you're good. Like we have a lot of data that we can
Yeah.
get through
Mhm.
technology that we can really have a lot of confidence. And I've been trying to dig a little bit into some research
Mhm.
that has a little bit more to do with tennis, although it can be a little scant. But
Mhm.
yeah, would love
So
to see people.
the happy accident here, as this pod is released, we will be in our first PT session with
There
you
you
fixing
go.
my ankle. So thank
There
you
you
in
go.
advance.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I was gonna plug the tools are really helpful because I went in and I've been out. Everybody knows I've been out for a while, and one of the things that was really nice is Andres did a bunch of tests, and that was it. No one's done any tests with me to see, as he was talking about, am I ready to return? Because it's been so long, I don't know, and so that was really helpful because we did all those tests, and there isn't anything. I have the range of motion, I can do everything. So now I have more confidence to go out there. Okay, I just gotta hit and follow the program that he set up for me. So that was really helpful to know, okay, it's safe to go out and hit now. There isn't anything from any of those tests that say my wrist isn't ready. It was plenty strong, plenty of range of motion. So that was really helpful for me.
and that's the Andres promise. So
Yep.
folks got to do it. Get yourself right. Good
Yeah,
Andre.
would love to see y'all.
Actually, segueing into that,
You'd
one of
love
the
to
reasons.
see us.
What?
Interesting.
Well,
You want us to get injured?
Not that. We just would love to see you if you're injured. But
Zach,
if you're
we're
not,
all gonna get
don't come
injured.
into my office.
Yeah.
You will get injured. It's a fact. If you're as we age, none of us are getting younger. We're not. Well, most of us aren't getting skinnier. There's
Nope.
more weight carrying around. You're gonna break something. Yeah, it's gonna happen.
Oh yeah. Matt, what are you plugging today?
Yeah, going back into that. One of the reasons when I went to see Andres, I was doing well. It's because of my tonal back there. Again, this is an audio only podcast, but I have a tonal in my office, and you can see it in the background. Absolutely love it. I've had it for 2.5 years. I've used it almost every single day unless I'm on vacation. It does everything for you. Puts all the plans together. You got it on your app. Tells you if you're doing something wrong. Bazillions of I've been doing it for 2.5 years. Haven't even got through a tenth of the different programs. You can set it if you want to build strength, if you just want to stay more tone, whatever it is. You set in your goals and do all that. Absolutely love it. Suggest anyone who you really need to own a home because you got to like really hardwire it in. But if you own a home and you're looking for some personal training or something like that, I would look into one of these as an option. Saves you a bunch of time and money, and it's great.
Get a gym in your home. Who says no?
Exactly.
Oh yeah.
Exactly.
Good plug. All right. Before we get into Andres, your collegiate career and your rec career, we want to play America's Game.
Oh man,
Are you familiar with what's coming next?
I'm familiar.
Okay. Do you want to do it? Do you want to do the intro to the game?
Oh man, what is it?
Guess.
Guess that triangle tennis player.
Wow.
He did it.
Electric. Matt, why don't you start us off with
Sure.
number one here?
Sure. He's an independent coach. One of the more popular coaches here, at least in the Durham area. He played on a Davis Cup
Should I
team.
let you finish this?
Yes.
Okay.
Was a top 100 junior in the world. Super cool dude, and just go ahead and say his name.
Loic Dadavi.
You got it.
Wow, that was a tough one. We almost had you there.
Yeah.
He was a top 100 junior in the world?
Yes.
Wow, I did not know that. That's
I
awesome.
looked this up. He peaked, I think, at 97 in the world and started playing. Yeah, he said, and on his bio, he said he's been playing tennis for as long as he can remember. He's somebody that we want to have on the pod at some point
Yeah.
because what a career he's had.
Yeah. If I'm up there with some of the better players, he is the best.
I think he
Have
probably
have
is.
you been on
He-
a court against him or with him before?
Yeah. So one of the first first league match I lost in the triangle was against him.
Oh,
And he
Yeah.
beat me 3-0.
wow.
But in 2.5 hours.
Wow.
Wow.
So
He
I had
stretched
him
that, oh, wow,
cramping.
yeah.
I had him cramping by the end of it.
Mhm.
But I was still getting my shit wrecked.
Yeah.
It was so infuriating.
That's
I feel
But
like-
now he's on the court with me. So that's
Yeah.
I feel like one of the great ironies of tennis is the only way you can have a 2.5 hour 3-0 match is at like 5-0, 5-5 level or 3-0. You will never see that in a 4-0 match ever.
I
No,
don't think
except
you'll
for
really
me.
ever see it in a 5-0 match either.
I used to do that all the time, actually.
was
I'm
just
the one exception.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I was just doing everything I possibly could to like try and wear him down and
Yeah.
win a game, and he just was not letting it happen.
That's wild. That's wild that you guys are like the top 5, but there's such a big difference between that. Yeah, that's crazy how good you guys are.
So this next guy, according to Tennis Record, is the number 1 ranked by dynamic rating in the Eno USTA.
Okay.
He played college tennis at NC Central, and I looked this up. He is originally from Ecuador. Do you know who that triangle tennis player is?
Oh my gosh! Is
You
he
got
the
30
coach
seconds.
Is he the coach at Central now?
I believe that
Yeah, I
he
think
is
he
part
is.
of the coaching team.
Is it?
Yeah, I think
Is
he
he?
might be the head coach.
Is
I
it
think it's
Johnny or
I actually
nah.
don't know.
He's part of the coaching staff because I
honestly,
think
can't remember the name right now.
we need another hit.
I don't know.
But
Okay.
you're close. He is part of the coaching staff. I think it's oh my god, I can't remember.
I just
Do we
can't-
have
I
you
can't
stumped?
Think the name. I can't think the name, but I actually know who you're talking about.
Okay, you got 5 seconds. We're giving you a
It's
little
not gonna
bonus time to
happen.
guess. It is Gabriel Cucalone,
Yeah.
number 1 by dynamic rating on Tennis Record player in Eno.
He actually probably deserves it. I've heard he's a hell of a player.
Yeah.
I'd love to see him play low. I've never
That's what I was
seen
about to
Gabriel
ask.
play.
Yeah. I
That's
think
like
I saw
exhibition
him play
caliber.
once, but I was playing too, so I didn't get to watch him. He was playing in a 8-5 match with a 4-0, I think, because he's a 5-5. If I'm not mistaken.
I think he might be the only. He's 2 5-5s in Eno CTA. Andres, good news and bad news. Good news, you're gonna get bumped. That's cool. Bad news is there's 3 guys for you to play against
Oh,
next year.
that sucks.
Wait, what's
Yeah.
my tennis record right now?
You are right above the bump mark. I think at a
No.
501. So you got to throw some
No.
matches here, man.
So yeah, you're gonna need to start losing.
Yeah,
I-
you are a
uh,
5.013 on Tennis Record.
I
Maybe-
think-
Loic.
Yeah.
What's
Where's
Loic?
Loic
Do you
at?
know,
Yeah.
Zach?
Oh, let me pull it up. By the way, Andres,
So-
the only
'Cause
reason
I
you're
was
not
a
further above is because you were kind enough to
4.95.
give me a game.
Yeah.
Loic is 5.09 and Gabriel is a 5.25.
Oh, so we both went up because
Yeah.
Loic, I was 4.95, and I'm like, yes, I'm good. I'm safe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Loic was a 5.00, and I was like, oh, he's gonna have to throw.
Yeah. I think you guys have the only acceptable reason to throw because you cannot play tennis for a
I
year.
know, that's
And
the
that's
problem.
unacceptable. That's unacceptable. I have no
Yeah.
problem if you guys had to throw some games because then that's not fair. You should be able to play another year.
So
Like,
I think
I
they
think
call
that's
this
okay.
a champagne problem. But Andres, can you explain to people why you do not want to ever be a 5-5 player in USTA?
Yeah, and honestly, there's some places besides the triangle you don't even want to be a 5-0 player.
I
'cause,
would
like, there's
yeah.
not enough. Like,
Oh yeah.
yeah, if you get above 5-0, there are no tennis leagues that you can play, even at a state level, as far as I know.
Yeah.
Is that nationwide or is that just
As far as
based?
I don't know of any states that have 5-5 leagues, but I don't know. Maybe California has something crazy.
Yeah.
But
So you're a
Uh,
collegiate player who's basically continued to play post college. So what does an average 5-5 player look like?
yeah, in what way? Just they're good players. Like,
So
Like it's
I mean, I would say
unimaginable to your standard 4-0, 4-5 like me what a 5-5 player's game is. That's just it's so beyond attainment. It's hard to wrap my head around.
I think at a 5-5 level, you're gonna find people who are normally either they're incredibly athletic and
yeah.
can really buckle down and not miss a ball, but also have a good, probably 60-ish mile an hour pace on a ground stroke,
Yeah.
or you got the guys who are like bigger, taller guys that are going to serve 120
Mhm.
and they're going to put
Wow.
the ball away fast.
Mm.
5-5, maybe more 105, 110, but 6-0 is where you get like the 120s.
Yeah.
We actually had a debate a while back about if Steph Curry had never played tennis before,
Oh, we
picked up
did.
a racket and said, I'm going to do everything in my power to go from first time playing to 5-0 in 1 year. Do you think he could do it?
No.
Oh wow.
Break it down for us. Yeah, man.
If he had never picked up a racket, then no.
Yeah.
But if he's played casually and then he decides to get really serious, it's maybe because he's such a good athlete and he could, like, with a good coach, have a pretty monster serve probably and could get to a lot of balls. But I think if he's never picked up a racket, like 5.0 takes even really good athletes years to achieve.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Is there any
I
athlete
know
walking
of
the earth?
like some MLB players that have
Yeah.
picked up and like they've played for a year and they get to maybe like a 4.0.
Yeah.
Wow. Is there any athlete walking the earth today that you think could go from picking up a racket to 5.0 in 1 year?
If not Steph Curry, then who?
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
I feel like LeBron, if because all he would have to do is serve and volley and chip and charge. If you get a 6'8" guy with his reach, Wemby
but I
as
just
well.
don't think you can get the coordination.
Yeah.
And I just, even if you played 6 hours a day every day,
Yeah.
I just don't think you're gonna get the coordination to like have that kind of feel and that kind of comfort level at that high of a level that quickly.
Yeah.
Who knows? Freaks of nature, things happen.
Mhm.
But it would be hard. I think 4.5 is possible,
Mhm.
but still very difficult to achieve in a year.
I think they could definitely do 4-5 because you
I
can.
think so. Probably.
I was
But you
able to
said
get
never
there.
Picked up a
Yeah.
racket,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. Yeah.
ever.
I was able to get there by just getting the ball back deep, and I'm not winning a lot, but like I was able to get it by just getting the ball back, pretty
Yep.
much.
How long did that take you to get there?
Oh, my whole life, but I am 5'9" and overweight, and have bad footwork.
Okay, but you've had your whole life to actually get the coordination to like have a feel for the ball.
Yeah.
And so if we're gonna bring it back to science here,
Oh.
if we're gonna bring it back to like neuromuscular education, where you train the body to learn
Yeah.
a movement, yes, you can get a pretty large effect in 8 weeks, let's say, like 6
Yeah.
to 8 weeks.
Yeah.
But in terms of like mastery,
Yeah.
because like 5.0 plus you're like, I don't know, I don't think I've mastered the game, but you've mastered the game in a way
Yeah.
that you feel pretty comfortable on a tennis court.
Yeah.
And I just don't think that takes only a year.
But I think 4-5 they could do. I think
I
4-5.
think 4-5
I
they
think
could
4-5
probably
they
do,
could.
yeah.
They don't have to win. They just have to get. They would have to be at that level.
Yeah,
don't have to win a bunch.
Yeah, I think 4.5 they could do.
Yeah.
Yeah, they probably could if they really dedicated.
Mhm.
So going back to some of the training, how did you train when you were playing in college, and how does that compare to how you practice and train now?
Oh gosh. Now.
A little less time now, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot less time. Honestly, my college training was a ramp down from juniors.
Huh.
Oh wow.
I was training like if I had my way in the summers, I was like training 4 hours a day on the court and then another hour in the gym, like 4 to 5 days a week. In college, we were probably doing 2 to 2.5 hour practices, 6 days a week, and then we'd do hour and a half in the gym,
Mhm.
probably 3 or 4 days a week, and then
Mhm.
fitness meshed into all of it.
Mhm.
How much
Um,
time did they spend on y'all's mental game, or was it almost entirely
Not
physical?
enough.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, not really. They would scold us for acting like idiots, but
Is that the
honestly,
best
I
way
thought
to? Was that effective?
if it reached a breaking point sometimes.
Yeah.
Because then it'd be like you all need to like it's like working on your mental game is like you're acting like an idiot. You're all running sprints.
Ah.
You
Well,
know?
do they not have you work on that because 22-year-old boys are just like useless in that regard, and it's too much of an uphill battle, or was it just because they're like that's a different skill than working on a forehand, working on a serve?
Yeah, I think. I mean, they work on it in conversations of in this situation, like this is like what our goals and our target is, and
Mhm.
instead of thinking about your technique or something like that, like you think more about like how do I want to play my game? How do I
Yeah.
want to win this point? Or if I got there, don't think about change. Don't try and change or be special. Do what got you there, and the percentages will take care of themselves.
Mhm.
And then, but yeah, really, I think really like the way they worked on the mental game was more just like us getting closer with each other and like
Okay,
us
that's
being
good.
more comfortable and like being friends with each other and being good teammates. We were able to support each other a lot more, get hyped for each other during matches.
Yeah.
And so I think that was worked on a lot. So I guess that's technically like the mental side, but to think like in general, a lot of coaches are probably not as well equipped to work really on like psychological aspects of the game.
Yeah.
As like Duke
Yeah.
has like sports psychologists that work with the players.
Mhm.
And that's probably like a lot more effective.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the ways they worked on the mental game were more just like camaraderie and then like just trying to calm you down in the moment. But I wouldn't say we did anything. We didn't do a whole lot like off court, let's say, to like work on the mental game.
So in college, you get the team environment, which you didn't have in the juniors. You don't get to play quite as much. In rec, you get the team environment, but it's a little bit different because the team's always changing season to season. Players get added, players get dropped. It's not the same guys for 4 years. Which level of tennis did you have the most fun at on the court, and what about off the court?
I would say college for both.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I loved the competitive aspect of college tennis. I don't get in people's faces, but I love the fiery, like how
Mhm.
fiery you can be. And it's a little bit frowned upon in a triangle tennis league.
Does it have to be, though?
You can have fun.
Could raise the level a
Sometimes.
little bit?
Yeah.
I'd love to.
Yeah.
What would
yeah.
that look like?
Just like feeling okay with getting pumped up, winning
Yeah.
like any point ever.
That's great.
Yeah.
I think it should be okay. I think
Yeah.
that's absurd. It's perfectly appropriate to throw your racket at any point or get angry and yell. Maybe not quite. Yeah, I think it is. But it should be, if you're going to be able to throw your racket at any point, you should be able to yell "come on" at any point, and that should be
Yeah.
appropriate too. Like
And I
that's
still
fair.
do.
I
couldn't
I
agree
just
with
don't
you
know
more.
if people like it or not.
great.
So we've played each other
It's fun.
twice.
Yeah.
One time was an absolutely comical demolition where I didn't belong on the court with you, and the other time Spencer Llewellyn and I played the two best matches of our life
Yeah,
and took
I
and
agree.
and
I was
got very
pretty
lucky.
I
Yeah.
I felt like I was playing well too. I
Yeah.
was like,
Yeah.
I've got my work cut out for me right now. This is
Yeah.
brutal.
That was we both redlined for the entire match.
Yeah, you
and I
did.
think
You
and I
didn't
and
miss
like
a single volley for 2 hours. I was
So-
like, I have never done that in my
Yeah.
entire life.
what was the difference between that doubles match and that singles match?
You not missing a volley,
Yeah.
and also just serving. But honestly, it was you. Like it.
He played crazy.
No, seriously, I didn't feel like our level was bad at all. Like our level was good.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
I
let
thought
you
the
in a
whole
little
match
secret.
level was really good.
At that point, had taken some pretty brutal losses at 5-0. Last year I was
Yeah.
at 4-0, got bumped.
I thought you were gonna
signed-
say I had taken some pretty serious PEDs. Like,
He
Hold on,
took
I'm
a lot
getting
of-
there. I'm
he's
getting
getting
there.
to that. He was drugged up.
So yeah. So like I was just sick of getting my ass handed to me. So I got a good night's sleep, and then I took a shit ton of caffeine pills,
Yeah.
and I was just like, I was literally like
So
shaking
hyped
between
before the match,
points.
yes.
Yeah.
I
and
drove him over there. Just kept taking.
I
So-
mean, maybe you should do that more often.
Yeah.
Well, look,
Played
hey,
so
you're the
good,
medical
though.
expert here, but caffeine is linked to enhanced performance
It is.
athletically. Is that correct?
Yeah, 100%. It's from what I've seen, if I remember right, it's like about a 2% increase in performance on average
Yeah.
if you actually drink coffee or have caffeine before an athletic athletic event.
I also took a caffeine pill before we played singles, and I will tell anybody who
Yeah.
will listen, it was 0-1. It was not nearly as close as the score sounds, and I think that you were very generous and let me have that last game, which
No.
was very kind of you.
No, I was pissed off. I was like, dang it, because I don't know what it is. I don't know. Maybe it's just me being an asshole. But if I can win 0-0, I want to so bad.
Oh yeah,
Mhm.
oh yeah.
Like
I'm,
I don't
I'm
know
with
if
you
anyone else
1000%.
relates to that, but you feel so good if you can like double bagel someone.
Yeah, if you get that bagel in the first set, you're supposed to take it one point at a time and all this,
Mhm.
but it's I'm getting that second bagel, and that makes it harder to get the second bagel. So I get it.
Yeah.
You gave me one of the best tips after that match of that I've gotten all year. Do you remember what you said?
Yeah, I do.
Drop some knowledge on people, because I think I can't be the only player in the triangle that struggles with this thing.
This is something, and so I've worked as a coach too, and this is something I've coached a lot. So, my returns are like one of my best shots. So that's something I always like pride myself. I can get someone on the back foot off a first serve return if you don't hit the spot. And so what was happening with Zach was he was getting stuck on top of the baseline or in front of the baseline. I was getting at his feet, and then that second ball I was able to really just rip and get advantage of the point. And I told him after the match, he was like, what is one tip if you were to give me a tip? And I was like, honestly, just take a quick, once you hit the serve and land, take your recovery step back behind the baseline. It's way easier to move forward to hit a shot than it is to move back to hit a shot.
Specifically, I asked, how do I go from losing 0-1 to you to losing 1-2? And
That's
that was
funny.
the tip. That
That's
was the
funny.
tip. Have you seen Matt play at all, Andres?
I'm not.
I don't think you have. I've seen
not
you
before your
play.
Injury.
Yeah.
Matt,
Well, I've
talk
seen you
about your
play
game. Let's
righty
get
a
some
little
free
bit.
advice.
Yeah, you see me play righty. That advice that you just gave, Andres, wouldn't work for me because I am always hitting off my back foot. I am much more comfortable being completely off balance and off my back foot. If I try to come in and take an approach shot, I'll miss it because I'm like, what am I doing here? I just am so used to being off balance and on the defense. I just play way better defensively, which is funny.
But even then, you still, if someone's hitting a rocket of a return at you, it's better
Yeah.
to be behind the baseline and ready for it than it is
Yeah.
to move back as you're hitting the ball.
I don't know. I'm always on my back foot. Totally off
Different
balance.
strokes for different folks, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you should do this. I'm giving advice that I'm right. That's just the way I hit the ball. I just can't. Yeah. But
That's one of the fun
yeah.
things. That's one of the fun things about tennis, though, right? Is there are so many different styles,
Yeah.
and it's not like it's a 1-to-1 where you can have somebody with the exact same
Yeah.
UTR as you, but if they've got a totally different style, the outcome can be unpredictable.
Righty Matt. I was gonna say righty Matt is used to being more in charge of the point because I'm playing
Hmm.
lower level. So like I am actually better. It's funny. My approach shots are better as a righty because I'm just used to being in that position where I can hit a good approach shot and I have that opportunity.
Andres, if you ever hurt your right wrist, because I believe you're a righty, would you make the switch to lefty the way that Matt is doing?
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no way you're getting me off a tennis court if there's any chance. of me being
I love it. I love it. What are your current USTA goals? So you've been a high-level player for a long time. You're on some teams that it looks like are going to states or have gone to states. What's the end game right now?
I think the biggest thing right now is for our 5-0 team in the spring to win state.
Yeah.
Nice.
Because we go like pretty much every year, and we always feel we're like one really good match or really good player away from having that squad that can really take states. And then once you win states in North Carolina, like you've probably got a pretty good shot at sectionals.
Yeah, generally.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's the big goal for USTA leagues. Yeah.
Is there a player that is a 5-0 or going to be a 5-0 that you want to recruit from that team that you want to make the pitch to now?
Like a player that we could bring into that team?
Yeah.
There's a guy, I don't know if he ended up moving here, but he played on the UVA club team, and I've been trying to get him over to us. But he played like number 5 for Elon. His name's Sam Dively.
Oh wow.
Oh. My alma mater, by the way, Elon.
Oh, nice.
One of them. I went to 3 undergrads. That's a whole thing. But
3 undergrad.
Yeah, it only took me 6 years though.
But yeah, he played 5 for Elon, and then he played on the club team and won a national championship with the UVA club team.
Wow.
And I'm like, I want that guy.
Yeah.
Have you played Anish Kodali?
Yeah.
He's a very good player. We played against each other in the juniors, and I think his little brother might be in the area as
man.
well. A new
Tried.
oh,
I tried to get him to hit with me. He's like, dude, I don't hit. I don't do that anymore.
I don't hit. What do you mean I don't hit?
I don't
He's
hit.
like, I don't hit.
Like,
just
he doesn't
goes,
play
plays
anymore?
Pro League, plays the futures, and he doesn't like practice. Apparently, I don't know.
Oh.
What?
I don't know. I literally was like, dude, let me get your number. Let's hit. He's like, yeah, I'll get your number, but I don't hit.
I'm gonna plug it. Anu, if you're one of our listeners, you've got to hit with Andres. Whether we should make this happen, and also, please, if you make that happen, swing vision it. Like, we got to see that tennis.
That'd be fun.
Who do you think the best player in the triangle is?
So we're not counting like college players,
Yep.
and there's probably some coach that was just an absolute like missile. Let's see. I probably got to give it to Loic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I don't know who else is going to beat him in the triangle unless there's some coach that played for Duke or UNC that's just hiding in the woodworks.
Mm-hmm.
There's a guy who was a really good player when I was growing up in Raleigh that just moved back. I think it's Will Suck, who I want to say played at LSU. And I feel like there got to be a few of the UNC.
What
players
about-
floating around?
Zach, what about that guy maybe when he was in his prime who beat
Oh.
you? I think maybe he might be the best doubles player. I forget his name. The guy who beat you in dubs and you guys won
Oh.
2 points.
That was one of the most brutal beatdowns.
Yeah.
I mean, Andres,
It was
you
it was
and I
awful.
did not.
It was awful.
You and I did not have a close singles match, but I think I won at least 2 points on your serve. Can you confirm?
Can confirm.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
I won. Me and Rob Byer won 1 point on the
Yeah.
other team's serve the entire match.
Yeah.
It wasn't Paul Good, was it?
It could
Is he
have been.
tall? He's a tall guy. This guy's like 6'3".
I don't think he's that tall. But Paul, I've never actually seen him play, but I've heard Paul. He's like the head pro at Raleigh Racket Club. I've heard he's really good.
So tennis
and
record
his
is
son
very
is
slow.
his son is like a blue chip.
Yeah,
Nice
this
work.
guy's like 45, like a little overweight, but you could tell like I think he was like a
not
D1
Paul then.
player. Yeah, he was really good. I would like if he was like in his prime, he was.
His name is Brian Smith. He's a carry
Yeah.
guy.
Yeah.
I'm on his
and
pro league team.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
It looks like you went 3 sets against him earlier this spring as well.
Yeah.
How did you get more than 2
Fuck.
points off it?
What's the secret, man?
Honestly, I was playing with Justin, I think, in that match, right?
Yeah.
Against Brian Rosenthal.
Let me double check here.
Honestly,
Yep, Justin
we were
Penapinto.
pissed about that match.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were not happy. We were up 4-1, I think, in
Oh wow.
10 minutes in the first set, and I think lost that set.
Oh.
You did lose the first, but then you came back and won pretty comfortably 6-1 the second.
So we were like
Oh, nice.
4-1 in 10 minutes,
Mhm.
and then we won the second 6-1. We're like, man, like that should have been different.
That's how it goes sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, he's a good player. He's big serve. Definitely a big serve.
Yeah, I think he was just not. He was going at like 20% when he was playing us,
You
and it
have
was
to-
pretty funny.
With him, or just I feel like with big servers though, if you can read that serve and if you can get a clean racket on it, like you're pretty much in it.
Yeah.
I could, and that was in the second set. I started to a little bit, and that was what was so demoralizing. Is his partner moved to the net. Like I lined up a couple
Yeah.
where I was like, oh yeah, like really clean contact,
Who was
not an
partner?
overswing, good kind of core rotation, thumping as good of a forehand return as I can realistically hit against a serve of that caliber. And then boop, winner, volley winner, just
Yeah.
over and over, and that was
So,
like the best we did that I could do.
Here's a great tip I think for doubles. Like when you're feeling a lot of pressure at the net, I have when I coach doubles clinics, which
Yeah.
I don't do anymore, but I loved when I was doing it. I have like a step-by-step plan that I go where first I teach you how to move at the net and pitch a lot of balls. I teach you how to cover the cross-court poach, and then when there's a rally down the line, how to make the opponent feel pressure and poach on that ball as well without getting burned all too often. And then the second step is basically knowing that once you are basically a presence at the net, your opponents are only going to be able to resort to a lob. Because if they don't feel confident they can actually hit the ball and get through you and be safe. So then I teach people how to swing volley. Take the lob out of play.
Yeah.
But that is a great strategy, though. If you have an opponent that's not great at swing volley, if you've got someone who's just moving at the net, picking up all your shots, learn how to hit a lob return because it'll save you a lot.
That's a good pro tip.
Check the box. We're good to go. That's all I hit.
That's a TTP exclusive right there.
That's all I hit. Lob returns.
That's why I teach the swing volley, because if I'm playing you,
Yeah.
I know it's coming, and then I'm going to take it out of play.
You do. And I've seen it happen to me, and that's why I will be a low level 4-5 my whole life, and I'm cool with that.
See, I think Matt can level up more than he gives himself credit for, but I think he's got to believe it. And Matt, for whatever reason, you're holding yourself back. You're like, oh, I can't get there. You can get there if you want to.
I'd have to stop eating brownies. It's just not happening. That's the thing that's holding me back are brownies.
Stop eating cookie dough and brownies.
Yeah, you're working with
old
a
are
little
you?
different physique than us, I think, at this point.
Yeah, wait till you're 35, man.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. Oh, where were we? Oh, okay. Has your game changed over time, or has it stayed pretty similar?
It's definitely changed throughout the years. So when I first started, I was like bigger than everybody else, and now you've seen me fairly diminutive. And so I was like a 5'6", 12-year-old.
Yeah.
So I was like big serve,
Yeah.
rocket backhand, put the ball away. And then when I was 14, and also while I'm 26, I'm 5'8". So I had to do a 180. And just like when I was 15, my coach just taught me how to grind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I was trying to play the same game, but I was playing against 6'3", 15-year-olds who you can't really hit through. Like they're just gonna hit through you first.
Yeah.
So
see,
then I
that's
learned
so
how to
smart.
grind. Yeah, learned how to grind. got to like playing college that way. Then in college, when I was playing against some really good Division III players, I was beating everyone I was supposed to, and then competing with all the guys better than me, but couldn't really get over the top. And then my coach, all right, now we got to start developing some weapons again.
Yeah.
Really from then, because then COVID hit and didn't really get to finish it off.
Yeah.
But,
It sucks. Sorry about that.
but basically, from then until now, I've been trying to just go a little bit bigger off the forehand, get in the net a little more often, and have the grind game that I've always had as like style B. If like, going full on, if going like patiently aggressive isn't really working as well, because I always know I'm gonna have the lockdown mode.
Yeah.
In the tank.
Interesting.
It's got to be so helpful to have that weapon, the mobility and the ability to grind as the weapon. You know, you and I had a similar growth trajectory in that I was 12, 13, about 5'6", 5'7". I'm now like wink 5'10", but also like many people. It's been a while since I've been measured, but I've been told also 5'8".
Yeah.
And I just never changed my play style. I just kept trying to go big, and it doesn't make sense for somebody my size, but I can't give it up. And now I'm like dead set on being the biggest 5'8" server that you can be, which is not a great strategy.
I mean, you make it work.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. 0-1. Maybe in a few years I'll make it work, but
it's not 0-1 because of your serve.
Yeah.
Your serve is tough.
It's, if I can get the mobility there, I think for both Matt and I, like he's a better mover than I am, but that's the thing that when you're in your 30s and a rec tennis player that's frustrating is like, it's not technique that's holding us back right now. It's a somewhat technique, but
it's more fitness.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing.
And that's why we're going to go to you for PT to not only fix our broken bodies, but to get us in shape here.
Oh,
2-1.
He's going to help us lose 20 pounds each.
Yeah.
Here's another plug if you're talking about injury prevention is obviously fitness for tennis is always going to be good.
Yeah.
And mobility. But honestly, like the more research you read, the more you see that resistance training, weight training is the one of the better, if not the best injury prevention that you're going to have. And just being strong enough to take over those high levels of forces that you have to generate. Even though it might not feel like it, like your shoulder when you hit a serve, if you're hitting it like if you hit like 100 or more, let's say, it's probably going at like thousands of degrees a second. Your shoulder rotation. So like you need to have the strength to actually stabilize and let the movement go in the correct direction and not have any sort of like unnecessary movement going on. So I would plug strength training.
That's a good plug. And so, listen, we know that it is your month anniversary. Congratulations on getting married, by the way. We end the podcast with the same question every time. Matt, you want to take us home?
Yeah. Andres, what does tennis mean to you?
Tennis is just what I love. It's really been everything to me for a long time until more things came in and were also, but my wife just was like, that's me.
Yeah.
Signal.
Yeah. But yeah, tennis is just honestly a way to compete and find a way to like get that like rush again, but also while having a lot of fun doing it.
Yeah. Andres, thank you so much for coming on. Congrats again on the new gig. It's nice to see somebody with an advanced degree from Duke come out on top for a change. Absolute best of luck. And this has been another episode of the Triangle Tennis Podcast. Thanks for listening, everybody.
Thanks so much, guys.